We are here today to say goodbye after 3 wonderful, weird, and sometimes tough years. Thank you all for being here. When we first started here in 2015, we had no idea what to expect, and only a slight notion of what was going to happen the next 3 years. Some of us already knew what we wanted to be when we were done and grown up, and others still had no clue. But it was okay, because it wasn't time to decide yet. We all felt so big and pretty small in the same time. Going from primary school to the gymnasium felt like a big step. But now we went from being the oldest to being the youngest once again. We were all looking forward to 3 amazing years. I'm sure many of us all have heard or been told that these 3 years was going to be the best years of our lives. And of course, we were all pretty excited about that. As mentioned, we went from being the oldest to the youngest again. But we didn't feel that small though. We couldn't see that big a difference between first, second, and third graders. We wasn't treated like kids anymore, and a lot of new responsibilities followed. We were pulled into the community and fellowship, the older classes among other things. Through cold little drinking sprees to Copenhagen, where we would run around and get lost half the time. And in the spirit and as tradition, most of the classes went on the get acquainted trip for new students, to drink and get to know each other. We went on this trip with the older C classes, the branch of music and media. That trip showed us that you can drink a hangover away and that a greasy breakfast can save your life. What a fun time. In class, we were taught about a lot of things. Many of our teachers knew how to make the, at other times, dreary subjects interesting, for example in social studies. Ule were also able to make us laugh and was an exemplary teacher who could make almost anything interesting. At the end of our first year, we were all looking forward to the summer break, but we had to defeat some tests and exams first, which we did. All the things we had learned along the year had to be put into practice. Most of us figured out that it was very serious all of a sudden. We all went on holiday with a new whiff of energy and were so ready to be able to relax and do whatever we wanted to do before we had to go back to school. 2016, the summer holiday was over and here we were again, ready for a new school year and all the things that may hit us. That didn't go too long until many of us could feel a big difference between first year and second year. The academic level had now increased quite a bit. Sometimes our minds exploded with all that overflow of information. But we had to stay focused in class and concentrate more on the assignments, because this year was going to be the most difficult but also most important year. A lot of us were also stricken with the second year down trip, which the previous students and present teachers had spoken so much about. Most of us found it very hard to find motivation in these difficult times, and sometimes we even doubted if we could make it. But weekends, holidays, the get acquainted trip, and the thought of the student camp in third year gave the most of us the motivation we needed to keep going. Along the way, many of us also experienced a broken heart or two, but none of us gave up entirely in those situations. Single life in gymnasium is not that bad after all. However, it did make it a little bit easier with all the lovely friends and classmates by your side, and with the love and support from home and all the kind teachers. Around the summer holiday, we were all itching for some time off, and were pretty glad about only having 1 year left. But at the same time, it all felt like it was going so fast, and we were beginning to think seriously about the future. 2017, when we came back after this last summer holiday, we were pretty excited about being the oldest at the school, and very quickly we realized that even though there were all these new people, we only recognized one or two in general. Lots of new faces, and a lot more people to get to know. The classes became harder, but at least we didn't have as many of them. People started to figure out what they were going to do afterwards, but a few were still in doubt. It's a great feeling knowing it was the last year. Some have fallen through during our time here, but most of us are proud and happy about standing here today and finally being able to say we're out. We've all gone through some kind of development in these past 3 years, social and academic. We are all smarter now, and we all have learned and grown so much over these years. We will definitely be able to take a lot of knowledge and experience with us. There have also been ups and downs, there have been challenges to conquer along the way. And now, as a student, we can finally say that this has been the hardest, craziest, and most fun years we've ever experienced so far. Many of us want a year or so off now to relax, travel, be inspired, take a breath, and get focused on what we want to do. But we don't really have to decide yet. We can take a stupid class at college, maybe fly around a little. Nothing is definitely decided yet. We're young and there are endless possibilities. We want to thank the teachers who has given us an extra kick when we were down. We want to thank the classmates who made it bearable to fight through the tough times, maybe with a little bit of humor now and then and a lot of support. We want to thank the parents who helped with the assignments and bothered to come pick us up in the weekends in the middle of the night because we were drunk and didn't make the last bus or train. And last but not least, we want to thank you all for this amazing journey. What will happen now?